Welcome into the Rob Breaux Show. I am Rob Breaux. I am the host. You are the co-host. You can co-host today by commenting on the starting line chat line. Starting line chat line brought to you by Starting Line Counseling. Schedule a 15-minute free consultation right now at startinglinecounseling.com. Already in the chat line. That starting line chat line is Last Sunrise, who says good morning, and Luke Landon, who says let's have a day. Let's have a day, Luke. I'm ready to have a day. Biff Poggy's ready to have a day. Is it Poggy or Poggy? I don't know. I've heard the name before. I am much more invested in Biff today than I was yesterday. Certainly than I was the day before. But Biff, the head coach at Charlotte, taking over for Will Healy, is my new favorite football coach, not named Joey McGuire. And what's funny is he's a lot like Joey McGuire in that he is a high school coach who is getting a chance to lead a big-time program. Well, Charlotte is what it is. It's maybe not big time, but it is a program. But Biff gets to media days this week. He was an analyst at Michigan in 2016. He was an analyst at Michigan in 2021 and 22. Around those times as analyst, again, a high school coach. From 96 to 2015, he was at a place. And then in between Michigan stints, he was at another place, another academy. But Biff, Coach Biff, gets up to the podium, picked last in the conference. It's media days. Nobody cares to talk to Biff. Biff's just some small-time high school coach. Biff has a terrible team. Biff's predecessor, Will Healy, went 3-9 last year. I think he got fired. Was 1-8, maybe. Will Healy now an analyst, associate head coach at Central Florida. But you have Coach Biff at the podium. They ask him one question. They ask him two questions. They ask him three questions. He finishes the third answer. Then everybody just stares at him. He kind of says, all right, 3 questions. That's all you have? Slaps the desk, which I thought was the best part. Slaps the desk and walks off. I saw a few media members saying, oh, you don't ask your good questions in the war room. You ask your good questions in the breakout. Okay. If you're so worried about getting a quote from Charlotte head coach Biff Poggi, you only have 3 questions for him. If you're so worried about getting a quote for your story that you don't want anyone else to have, I maybe understand that for like Nick Saban. You want to scoop for Nick Saban. You want to scoop for Joey McGuire. You don't want to ask that question in front of everybody. You want to get the hot story out from the hot coach in the Big 12. You want to ask Sonny Dykes something off the record so you can get a scoop and say, I got this at media days. And if you ask it in front of everybody, everybody's going to write the story. But it's Charlotte. Surely you can have 5, 6, 7, 8 questions for every coach. Even if they're normal questions like, hey, what's it like to be a new coach in the conference? Hey, you spent a lot of time in high school. How does that translate to the college level? Hey, your boss at Michigan's getting suspended. What do you think about that? He could have nodded and said, I'm not going to talk about that on any of those questions. But you still got to ask them. I mean, 3 questions? I'd be upset too if I got up there and only had 3 questions. But what I appreciate about it is that he explained why he was mad, was actually mad about it, and is going to go use that as motivation. I think he's going to be a good coach. I would take Charlotte at 3.5 and hammer the over. He's going to surprise some people. They might not be talented. They might not be the best. But a 3.5 win total for Biff. Coach Biff. Great name. It's a great name. Biff is a great coach name. We'll take the over on Biff. The Texas Rangers have lost 2 straight games. Hey, it's Power Ranking Wednesday. You can power rank things there in the starting line chat line. Power rank whatever you want, or ask me to power rank things. I prefer you to power rank things, and I'll just respond to your power rankings. We'll debut the NFL power rankings this week and then not talk about them for a month. We'll also debut, or not debut, but talk again about the MLB power rankings that we do every week. But first, the Rangers have lost 2 very close games in a row. And I want to defend a television broadcast crew that I have not pulled any punches on. I think the Rangers TV crew is terrible. I don't like them. Dave Raymond is growing on me, but something about CJ Nikowski just really, really grinds my gears. I don't know why. I really don't understand why I can't hardly watch the Texas Rangers on television. But Dave Raymond seemingly makes everyone else better except for CJ Nikowski. I really enjoy all the other broadcasts that CJ Nikowski's not on, but I just can't stand the guy. Anyways, long story short, they were railed a little bit after being quote-unquote incredulous after a call against the Houston Astros. And I'll say this. Television broadcasts generally at a national level have to be straightforward. They do. You're supposed to be straightforward. But the way that Major League Baseball does their television broadcasting, it's a home crew. Like, do you not get it? Awfulannouncing.com? That this is a homer crew? It's just like the radio crew. You don't have to be straight by the book on a TV crew in Major League Baseball. You could be a homer. That's the beauty of it. I wish CJ Nikowski was more of a homer, I guess. Dave Raymond, though, has been a real good homer lately on these calls at the plate. It seems like the Rangers have more calls at the plate than anyone else in Major League Baseball, both throwing people out and getting thrown out at the plate. It happens nearly every game, it seems like. When Adolis Garcia is playing, it happens even more often because he's so good at it. But you had one 2 days ago. You had one last night. Both reviewed. Both sucked for the Rangers. Ending in losses for the Rangers. Both of them. And not good. Not good. The Astros have now won 2 in a row against the Rangers. I guess 3 in a row going back to the previous series where they took the final game. You won 1 out of 4 the last time in Arlington. You're going to win maybe 1 out of 3 in this one. Have the Astros passed the Rangers in the standings? No. Even if they win today, you'll still be tied in the standings. But have they passed you in the power rankings? We'll talk about that in a minute. Off the chat line, the starting line chat line, I showed up late to the Rangers-Dodgers game. Dodgers in blue, Rangers in red and black. I got confused. I don't keep up with them, and someone should have warned me that they want to be tech. I guess you're talking about the Friday or Saturday game. The City Connect uniforms that the Texas Rangers wear now every Saturday and Friday at home. Don't understand why. I really don't. I get that there's a City Connect thing and they want to sell jerseys. And they're going to sell a new jersey every year. City Connect wise. Uh, it was fine just on Fridays, but now they do it on Friday and Saturday. I don't like them. They're fine. And it's navy, it's not black, if that makes a difference, but it's so hard to tell because it's such a dark navy. It looks black. It looks red and black. It really does. Top 3, bottom 3 Big 12 coaches you want to have a beer with. Okay, if you know my thoughts on Neil Brown, this might surprise you, but I think Neil Brown would be in my top 3 to get a beer with. I feel like Neil Brown, under the surface, might be a little more entertaining than we give him credit for. Joey would be up there. And then I would go Dana Holgerson, except we're drinking vodka Red Bull. Bottom 3, Sarkisian, Venables. Do those count? We'll go current Big 12. I'll leave Sark in there. Does he drink anymore? I guess not. Let's see. Sonny Dykes to me seems a little bit boring, though I think you could really get some good stories out of him. He'd be near the top of my list, especially for his time in Texas. You know what? I really don't have any. A lot of people would probably say Gundy here. I would put Gundy in my bottom 3. I feel like he'd just be ready to leave the whole time. I don't think he'd be a very good bar date. And why is it easier to do the top than the bottom? I'm usually don't care about you kind of guy. We'll say Kalani Sataki, he seems really boring. And he coaches at BYU. I'll put him in the bottom 3. And then Satterfield. I go Satterfield in the bottom 3. That guy seemed boring as well. Though he went right after Joey McGuire at Media Days. That had to be pretty tough. But top 3, Joey, Dana. I'll go Sonny Dykes, and then Neil Brown would be 4. Let's do some Major League Baseball power rankings real quick, then wrap up that section of the show. We've got Patrick Mahomes content and fall camp starting for Texas Tech. We'll talk about those 2 things as well. Major League Baseball power rankings. Braves still at the top for me. Same as last week. Orioles, Rays, whatever order you want to put them in, still right. Boom, boom. That's the top 3. I would say the Dodgers passed the Texas Rangers this week with a win. And then no Seager, no Adolis. Number 5, for the first time of the year that I've been doing this, the Rangers aren't in the top 5. I'll put the Astros because they're 5-1 against you in the last 6. Like, what can you say about that? They're 5-1 in the last 6, the Astros. The Astros are a better team right now than the Texas Rangers. Or maybe it's just that the Texas Rangers is their Super Bowl. Whatever it is, they have your number. So I'll put the Astros Rangers at 5, 6, whatever you want to do there. So Braves, Orioles, Rays, Dodgers, Astros, Rangers. That's the top 6 in baseball right now. Just for fun, I want to do the NFL power rankings as well. Chiefs number 1, Eagles number 2. I think the Eagles will still be good next year. The Bills, I think, have some problems. I think they'll be at the bottom of these power rankings. Because of quarterback, I think the better team here would be the 49ers to go 3rd. But because of the quarterback situation, I'll go Bengals 3, 49ers 4, Bills, Cowboys. I think the Dallas Cowboys are right there again. I think there's a gap between the Eagles, the 49ers, and then the Cowboys, and that kind of the Vikings and that next section in the NFC. But I think there's a gap in the AFC as well. That's a pretty firm gap to the rest of the teams. Maybe the Cowboys is a little bit of a homer pick, but we'll see what happens. All right, the Texas Tech Red Raiders are starting fall camp this week, or at least are in the building with uniforms on. I don't think it's officially starting fall camp, but what do I want to see from fall camp when it starts here in a week or two? I want to see offensive line production, and I don't know how you see that in a fall camp, but I want to hear about consistency. I want to hear about 5 starters. I want to hear these 5 guys have really taken off. I want to hear about, again, consistency on the offensive line, that you get through healthy, that Cole Spencer looks great, that Rusty Stats looks great, that Dennis Wilburn is going to be a great guard like he was a great center. I want to hear all of those things, not just from the coaches, but from the media that's in attendance, Don Williams and all those guys, that the offensive line looks like a strength. Because I think it could be. I don't know that it can be. I think it can be. Speaking of consistency, I also want to see Shuck consistency. I'm a huge fan of Baron Morton. I want Baron Morton to play quarterback at Texas Tech. But if Tyler Shuck has won the job, I want him to keep the job, no doubts, be great all fall long, win the job again in the camp. I don't think there's a competition. He was named the starting quarterback. I'm not trying to rile anything up. But if you can have that as a no-doubter and that Tyler Shuck just has an incredible fall camp, I think that makes your team even better, especially going into the season. Third thing I want to see from fall camp, health. That's it. Just get out of it healthy and get to Wyoming, because you have 39 days, 38 days till kickoff. It's very close. It's very close. All right, final thing, and then we'll get out of here unless you'll have some more power rankings there on the starting line chat line. Again, startinglinecounseling.com for a free 15-minute consultation. It's telehealth based, so you don't have to go into an office. You can do it from wherever you are. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. Startinglinecounseling.com. Chase, with more than a decade, double grad at Texas Tech, more than a decade of experience, can help you out. Startinglinecounseling.com. All right, I want to talk about Mike Florio, which I generally don't like talking about Mike Florio, because every time I do, it just makes me mad. He's like CJ Nikowski. I don't really know why I don't like him. Maybe it's just because all of his takes are so bad. But this one about Patrick Mahomes last night was particularly egregious. This is from Pro Football Talk. It could be from somebody not Mike Florio, but it's from his account, Pro Football Talk. If Patrick Mahomes is fine with helping to further feather Clark Hunt's billion-dollar nest, so be it. But Mahomes is currently $7.5 million a year behind the top of the market at the quarterback position, and it will only get worse when Joe Burrow signs his deal. Whatever happened to 10 years ago when everyone loved Tom Brady for restructuring his deal every year. Everyone loved Tom Brady taking less money. But now, when you sign the richest deal in sports history, not football history, sports history, and it gets blown out of the water in 3 years, you're gifting a billionaire extra money. You're not being selfish enough? Well, I don't even get the point of the tweet. He signed a $450 million deal, Florio. What are you talking about? His average salary is $45 million. If you look at just quarterbacks, biggest cap hit this year, Patrick Mahomes at $39.6 million. Total cash, fourth, behind this list of quarterbacks who get guaranteed money. Lamar Jackson at 80, Deshaun Watson at 46, and Daniel Jones at 46. Sometimes the best players don't get paid the most, Mike Florio. Talking about base salary, Patrick Mahomes is very small base salary. He gets a bunch of bonuses. Ryan Tannehill's base salary, 27. Jimmy Garoppolo, 22.5. Jared Goff, 20.9. Kirk Cousins at 10 million. I mean, this is not a list of high-level quarterbacks except for maybe Kirk Cousins. Sorry, Kyle. Then you have Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson at 8th. 8th is Patrick Mahomes at $5.5 million. You know who makes $5.4 million this year? Tyrod Taylor. Do you know who the 10th highest paid quarterback in base salary is, according to SpotRack.com? Base salary. Colt McCoy. Like, none of these numbers make sense. Is Colt McCoy feathering the cap of a billionaire? Or is it just Patrick Mahomes? Let's see. Patrick Mahomes, the second biggest workout bonus, the biggest contract value, the longest contract length. Like, I don't really get Florio's original tweet. If Patrick Mahomes is fine with helping feather Clark Hunt's billion-dollar nest, so be it. Mahomes is currently $7.5 million behind the top market value of the position. He's not. Jacob says, wasn't Patrick being praised for the selfless nature in his contract a year ago? I don't get how it's selfless. The cap hit's $39 million, and he's getting paid $450 million for being a great quarterback. How is that selfless? Just because other quarterbacks are getting paid more doesn't mean that Patrick took a deal. Now, it was a team-friendly deal. It's a good deal for the team. It's a good deal for Patrick. Mike Florio is just mad that the best quarterback's not being paid the most. That happens in every business, Florio. Wake up. Is the best analyst paid the most? No. The most popular analyst is paid the most. And in football, it's the next guy is paid the most. Whoever the next contract is paid the most. It's a 3-year-old deal. If anything, Patrick was selfless because he took a 10-year contract and didn't want to gouge the Chiefs in 5 years. But we're not to that point yet. Patrick Mahomes' contract, the base salary is really low, but total cash, or at least cap hit, 46, 48, 44, 62, 44, 45, 50, 52. He's going to count $52 million against the cap when he's 36. Now, that could be an incredible deal then, but he's also getting paid $40 million this year, 40.5 37 next year, nearly 38, 42, $60 million in 2027. We'll see if they restructure that. 45 million, 45 million, 50 million, 52 million. Because he's the best quarterback on the planet, they should be paying him 60, 70, 80 just because Lamar Jackson's getting that. It's not how it works. Mahomes isn't feathering the billionaire. He got a fair market value, and now it's 3 years old. That's just how it happens. And he shouldn't have to be greedy. He gets $20 million a year in endorsements. He was in a Walmart commercial. He does Head and Shoulders, or did. I don't know what Coors Light pays him, but they pay him. Adidas. Oakley. He's not hurting for money. If he wants to be selfless, as we say, if he wants to take less money, so be it. I think sports contracts need to be reset. And if it hurts the rest of the quarterbacks, fine. Every quarterback contract shouldn't have to reset the market. You should have a market for 5 years and then reset the market. You don't have to reset the market every single contract. That's what happens right now. That's why Justin Herbert is the highest paid quarterback right now, percentage of the cap. 23.35% of the cap in Los Angeles goes to Justin Herbert. 23% of the cap goes to Lamar Jackson. 22% of the cap goes to Jalen Hurts. Mahomes, right at 20%. For what it's worth, since this is generally a Cowboys-based Chiefs show, Dak Prescott right there. Let's hope the Saudis never take interest in American football. Hey, there can be some real good sports washing in American football. I'll tell you that much. How do you reset it? Resetting the market means the next guy just makes way more than everyone else did in the last deal. And that's how it happens. Like, there should be 2 years of just a couple of guys getting the same deal. Like, hey, it's the same deal the last guy got. It works for me. It works for him. 3, 4 in a row. Hey, this is the quarterback deal. This is what quarterbacks get in the NFL. But no, Justin Herbert has to be the highest paid quarterback ever. And it just doesn't make sense for Justin Herbert. It doesn't make sense for Lamar Jackson. It made more sense for Lamar. He's got an MVP. It made sense for Patrick. He was a Super Bowl MVP and league MVP by the time he got his contract done in 2020. But to reset the market or allow the market to be reset 10 times since Patrick Mahomes and then now be complaining about Patrick Mahomes' contract is stupid. That's just how it works. It's how it's always worked. Maybe I just think Florio's dumb. Florio and CJ Nikowski could have the worst podcast of all time if those two guys got together. All right, that's it for me. Another Power Ranking Wednesday in the books. We'll see you next time. Actually, we'll see you tonight for the Gambling Gauchos. We'll talk to a BYU expert tonight. Linton, I believe, is Spencer Linton. Okay, one more question. If Dak Prescott makes or wins the Super Bowl, should he get a raise? Is it the end of his contract? I mean, that contract was huge when they gave it to him. Too big. If Dak Prescott wins the Super Bowl this year, should he get a raise? He would probably get an extension, yes. He probably would get an extension with more money. his age, if he finally broke through and won a Super Bowl, uh, you know what? I would call this a make or break year for Dak Prescott. He's still on the books, but next year, how they backload contracts, next year's a huge money year for Dak. How the Cowboys backload contracts. Dak Prescott is either going to get, he's either going to get, man, if Dak has another year like he did this year, he might not be the Cowboys quarterback next year. If he makes it to the Super Bowl, he'll probably get an extension and they'll restructure that deal to where it's big again in 4 years. And he'll reset the market and everyone will hate it. That's just how it works. All right. Now that's the final thought. Gambling Gauchos tonight, 8 p.m. Be there or be square. That was dumb. We'll see you then.